Welcome back. With all the turmoil we're going through right now, it can seem like the world is coming apart at the seams. Hateful messages on social media, horrific acts of violence. What on earth is going on? Well, according to our next guest, John Harrell, we're experiencing an identity crisis. John, first of all, nice to have you here.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
And when I say identity crisis, what do you mean by that?
Sure. And I'll try to keep the answer short because we only have a certain amount of time. But so identity crisis. You alluded to it. People are saying ugly things on social media. I mean, anytime you turn on Facebook, Twitter, there's some funny stuff there, but most of it is just divisive. And further, kids nowadays, people are being defined by their status and stuff, as I call it, what they have. And we turn people into human havings, not human beings. But we're not. Our identity is who we are, not what we have, not what we do. I mean, how often have you been introduced as on-air personality? That's not who you are. It's just what you do. I've been introduced as a financial advisor, as a writer, as a few other things, but that's not who I am. Who I am is I'm John Harrell, and here's who I am. I have a heart for kids. I have a heart for people. I love to meet new people and experience things. So that's where people lose their identity. We become labeled. When you label people, you take them from being a who to turning them into a what.
Well, and breaking free from those identities that people ascribe to us is certainly at the heart of your book, Killing My Father, Then Finding Him. What was the inspiration? And quite a title, too.
Well, thanks. It sounds like I'm confessing to a murder than helping the authorities solve the cold case by finding the body. So what inspired it was this. I write a short blog, and it's seeking-grace.com. And the one I wrote last is called titled Atticus Finch is Dead. And in that blog, I cited some numbers from a Department of Justice study where kids who grow up in fatherless homes, 69% of teen suicides, fatherless homes, 90% of teenage homelessness, fatherless homes, 75% of rapists come from fatherless homes. But the next paragraph is where the inspiration came from. So what about those of us whose fathers came home every night, but we wish they didn't? I grew up in a very violent, fear-filled home. My dad was a cruel, angry man and did not know how to express love to children or other family members. What happened was this. After I published that, I got dozens, tens, 50s, hundreds, whatever, of messages from people, Facebook, emails, phone calls from people saying, I grew up the same way. But I always thought I was the only one. I was alone. I was isolated. I was fearful. But you have to put on a facade when you're a high school kid that everything is okay. My life is going swimmingly. When inside, you just might be dying. So I thought, there's a story here, and I'm real open about my background. All of that's been forgiven with my parents. I see them for who they were and their failings and their flaws, and they're not alone. We all have them. So it inspired me to go write the book, share the message, and then teach others how to truly forgive others that have harmed you. A lot of people I talk to are not living fully. They're just existing, and they have great dreams, great goals, desires are inside of them, but they just don't know how to get it. They're living with fear. And the truth is, you've got to get rid of these old traumas. And for people that grew up in idyllic homes, I'm happy for you, because I'm so happy for you, because you don't have that to deal with. But you don't have to let it keep you from being the best version of you that you can.
Beautifully put. I mean, you're certainly striking a chord. I imagine people watching and people listening, they can certainly identify with that. Not every family's perfect. Actually, no family's perfect, even if it did seem idyllic, like you're saying. So what's the real message that you're trying to, I mean, obviously you have to escape your past. You have to sort of transform yourself and become who you want to be in the future. But what's the message you're trying to send?
Sure. So Killing My Father is a metaphor for killing the voices I took into adulthood. And those voices are, you'll never matter, you're worthless. And these are things I was told. So there's a side of you, as a part of you, as a young person that doesn't want to believe it. But at the same time, the people that are supposed to be the most influential adults in your life are giving you this message. You've got to find a way to get through it. Something you said when you were framing the question about how do you escape the past, and that's just it, you don't escape it. It always comes back to you. At some point, the wounds and the trauma from the past hit you. People tamp it down with work, alcohol, other vices, whatever. They avoid it, and then they end up not living to their full potential. You have to face it. You have to face the darkness. You have to face what you're afraid of, and you'll know when you're ready, but there's a way to face that, and I actually have that in the book of what you need to do to face that.
And the solution is in that book, and there's so much that somebody can get out of this, no matter what your past looked like. I mean, you can certainly glean a lot from everything that you've learned and imparting that now onto your readers. So John, congratulations on the book. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Wish we had more time to talk about you and your background, but of course there's tons of information online. I'm going to give them the link to that blog.
Great. The Amazon, the Kindle version went live yesterday, hit #1, bestseller this morning, so I don't ever self-promote, but I just did.
Congratulations.
The paper book should be out within a week or so.
Very good. And guys, like we were saying, to learn more about the book, Killing My Father, Then Finding Him, search for it on Amazon.com or visit seeking-grace.com.